Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Star Wars Perspective podcast. And if you're new here, I'll give you a little rundown of what that is. So essentially, I find people from all across the Star Wars universe and bring them on to tell their Star Wars story. I think there's something that's super unique about how everybody, found their love of the fandom. And I just wanted to make a podcast to capture that. And today I have CGS Props on. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Like we kind of talked about before. Any day we get to talk Star Wars, it's a good day, So,
of course.
So usually the first question I ask right off the bat at everybody is, what got you into Star Wars?
It was definitely at a younger age. I can't really pinpoint the exact moment or time or exactly what it was, but I think it was watching Empire Strikes Back on TV. Neither of my parents were really into Star Wars that much. But once I saw episode 5, I'm just like, oh my God, I need to know more. And then back in like 2013 or 14, one of our family friends joined up with the Mandalorian Mercs. He started posting pictures of his armor and stuff. I'm just like, well, I got to have one of those. So I guess he started teaching me how to form and forge my own Sintra and how to paint it up. So, I guess you can kind of call me a foundling, if you will.
Right on.
Yeah, since that, I've just been getting heavily into 3D printing, molding, casting, which is a lot of the helmets that are behind me. And just a lot better at painting overall.
Oh yeah, painting's tough, man. That's the biggest thing I'm trying to conquer right now is trying to get better at being a painter, for sure. But if you had to, this is a hard question too. If you had to pick one thing about Star Wars, what would be your favorite thing about Star Wars? It could be literally anything.
Man. Jeez, favorite thing. I guess just the in-universe feel of just how everything looks, from like costumes, ships, planet design. So I guess just the overall design.
I feel that.
Really, yeah.
I feel that. Yeah, the aesthetic is strong with Star Wars for sure.
Definitely.
So I want to talk a little bit about you kind of like your Instagram and your Etsy and stuff like that. So you design custom props.
That's where I started. One of my first helmet casting lines that I did was the Clone Commando, which I've got somewhere. This top guy up here.
Oh yeah, that looks awesome.
That's Grogu. And that's where I started doing fiberglass resin casts, and then people would send me what type of paint jobs they want done on it, and then I would ship them out within like a month or so. And since then, I haven't been doing too much custom work. It's been more I got into battle droid finger necklaces at one point. Did some Beskar. I have clone graduation medals at the moment. I've been heavily into lightsaber sheaths for people to clip onto their backpacks when they're walking around Galaxy's Edge. But I'm trying to pull the custom part back of my name back into my business. And I have a few post-Empire Mandalorian helmets up at the moment that people can contact me, see what kind of designs they want, and go from there.
Awesome. And you said you kind of got into that from a family friend, and that kind of led you down that path. So you weren't. So would you say that you? Sorry, I lost my words there. Would you say that this is something that really drove you, or was it just like Star Wars was awesome, you appreciated the aesthetic, and you're like, I gotta make the Star Wars stuff. Like I gotta make anything and everything Star Wars.
I think when I was younger, I was just like, oh, this is just a cool kind of entertaining movie. And then when I saw his armor, I'm just like, oh, that's super cool. I don't think I was really paying attention to like a lot of like the detail aspect of it. But now that there's more podcasts out there, I'm learning a lot more on YouTube or the internet, what have you. I've definitely been getting more into the detail side of costuming.
Nice. All right, man. So now I said the last question was hard, but this is probably the hardest question that I'm going to ask you in this whole podcast.
All right.
Is your movie ranking. And if you could, it doesn't have to be from like worst to best or best to worst, just kind of like what you're feeling at the moment. And then maybe with each movie, just list off like one thing that you really like about that movie.
All right. Are we including Solo and Rogue One or just the Skywalker?
If you want to. It's all up to you, man.
All right, so I guess my all-time favorite would have to be, it's kind of tied between Revenge of the Sith and Empire Strikes Back. They're two pretty different movies, but I think that's why they're two of my favorites. Episode 3, just it's kind of just the fall of the Republic and how that it's not necessarily the transition period yet, like we see in the Bad Batch, but it's like the height of all what the so what I'm looking for. Like the climax and what all the chaos is soon to unfold into, as we see in the later trilogy. As for Empire, I think it's just pretty different. So once you see episode 4, it's kind of like laying the groundwork for what the Empire is, who Darth Vader is, who are your main characters. So episode 5 really gets you to think and about more their motives, I guess you could say.
For sure.
Introducing like a higher power, which is the Emperor as well. And one of my favorite characters, Boba Fett, as well.
Oh yeah. Well, I think it's funny in both of those two, the good guys lose in both of those movies. You know, like the Sith come back in episode 3, and then in Empire, the Empire strikes back. You know, so it's interesting dynamic for sure.
Yeah. So then after those two movies, I think A New Hope then's my next in line.
Classic for sure.
Yeah, I think it's just because it's a classic at that point. From there, it's Return of the Jedi. I think it's the same reason. It's just really a solid movie overall. Then Attack of the Clones. Just seeing a whole entire battle on Geonosis is just
it's sick.
Of the coolest things ever.
Yeah, for sure.
Phantom Menace. I think it's just because you really start to see the peak of what the Jedi, not peak, but like what we know as the peak, I guess, of the Jedi Order. And then basically, I don't know, the sequel trilogies. I am a fan of them. They're pretty good. I'm not as good as the originals and prequels, in my opinion, but they're kind of all three of them are pretty tied for me. Yeah.
Right on. So that was actually pretty good. That was a pretty good ranking. I couldn't disagree with any of those rankings at all, man. They're pretty solid. How are you are you a fan of like the TV shows? Are you I know some people watch them, some people don't. Like how are you liking everything that we've gotten so far?
Oh yeah, I basically grew up on the Clone Wars. I watched it at least a dozen times, or if not more.
For sure.
And now with all the new stuff like the Mandalorian, I lost my mind at the end of season 1 when Moff Gideon came out of the TIE fighter with the dark saber.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
It's like, exactly. I was like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's like snapping his finger and poking. Yeah. I was like, there it is. And then I guess the newest one would be Boba Fett. How are you liking Boba Fett so far?
It's definitely a more different than I would have originally thought it was going to be.
Same, yeah.
The beginning was pretty slow. It was cool to see him interact with the Tuskens. I really like shining a new light on them from what we've previously seen. I know they started doing that a bit in The Mandalorian, but I don't know. I just love seeing more of the Tuskens, or the better side of the Tuskens.
Yeah, more humanized. For sure.
Yeah, because now they said in the show that they're kind of like split. So the ones that we see in Boba are more of like a civilized group of individuals, I guess. Whereas the ones in like Attack of the Clones are very different.
Yeah, I like that there's different tribes, that they're not all, because like as far as we knew from like all the movies and stuff like that, is like they're all kind of the same. You know, they're all just like, this is our land. If you mess with us, we're gonna kill you. You know, essentially.
Basically.
And I like that they kind of added that in there, that like, you know, there was different subsects of the tribes, and not all the tribes just went to like savagery, essentially.
Right.
Are you caught up with Boba? I don't want to spoil anything.
No, go right ahead. So, I know everything.
So yeah, if you guys haven't seen the newest episode, skip, I don't know, 5 minutes ahead or something like that, because spoilers. But man, I was really hoping that we were going to get Cad Bane, and when I saw that Mirage, I flipped out. I know as a Clone Wars fan, you probably were doing the exact same thing. How did you like his design? Because I've heard some people say that his design was so-so, and then some people say that they really enjoyed his design.
I think it makes sense for a live action appearance, because you have to think that the Duros species was already their head sculpt and everything was already like a character in the Mos Eisley Cantina and A New Hope. So there's not much they can change really to keep it like live action canon, I guess. But if you don't, and of course, like Dooku's face from Clone Wars to live action, that's like the one thing I always go to. His head's like 2 feet long in the Clone Wars.
For sure.
But if people don't really like that aspect of it, he's also super old by this period. I think he's like between 70 or 80.
Oh, for sure. Because I think he was around during the Phantom Menace too. Like he wasn't in the movies, but I think like in the comics or something like that, he was like there and like he existed in that time.
Yeah, he was born, I think, between like 60 and 70 BBY or something. So he's your face definitely changes over the years when you get older, from like as we see him in the Clone Wars where he's basically in his prime.
Right.
So I think his face in it makes sense. I wish his hat was bigger. You know?
Yo, dude, you literally beat me to it. I'm like, can we please, for the love of God, get big hat Cad Bane back? Like, come on, man. Where's my Barbossa style, like giant hat? I want it like 6 feet. Like, I don't even care if it's unrealistic, you know? No, I am right there with you though, man, on that one. But no, I thought they did a good job. I mean, it's definitely hard too, because like, obviously, like there's a real person playing him, you know, so our noses
nose off.
Yeah, it's super hard, especially if they're not doing CGI. But hey, man, for 70 years old, he still got it. He took out both of them
pretty fast.
Yeah, before either of them drew their either weapons. So I'm all for it. But yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. It took me by surprise of how they kind of did the show and the pacing of the show. But I mean, I think everybody expected kind of Boba to be like a John Wick or something like that, where he's just coming in guns blazing, taking people out. And I kind of like the fact, I do wish we got a little bit more action. That's like one of my critiques, is like, I understand that Boba's changed and and I hope that this last episode is basically that, you know, just him going crazy. Nuts, but I like that they're humanizing him a lot more. I thought that was a really good move on their part, and showing that like the Tuskens, like he found a home, you know, and then his home got taken from him. So what did you think about one more TV show and then we'll move on? What did you think about Visions? Because Visions is non-canon and it's kind of really different from the norm of Star Wars. So what did you think about that?
I haven't watched too many anime shows in the past, so this was kind of I think the only one I've really watched was Spirited Away.
Okay, it's a great one.
Yeah, it definitely was, or is still. So this was still kind of my first like experiences, I guess, with anime. So I watched it with one of my friends, and I don't know, we just had a blast with that. I really enjoyed them.
Yeah, I feel that. I really hope that this kind of opens the avenue for more non-canon stuff, because I don't know if you're into like the video games, but like The Force Unleashed is probably like one of my favorite Star Wars video games. And if they could do a timeline where just like it doesn't even, like it still has a lot of the Empire and all that stuff, but it doesn't connect to anything, I think that would be awesome.
That would be pretty cool, yeah.
Because like he breaks too much canon. Like he's stronger than like Vader, the Emperor. He beats Luke. Like you can't have that in Star Wars. But I think if it was non-canon, I think people would eat that up.
Oh, definitely.
So now we're going into a thing that I like to call My Knock Minutes, where I basically just ask you a whole bunch of like would you rather questions, or if you were in the universe, or what's your favorite this or that. And the first thing that I would ask you is, and I think I kind of, judging by the background, your background, know what it would be, is who would you be if you were in the Star Wars universe? Would you be a Jedi? Would you be a Sith, a Mandalorian, a smuggler?
Yeah, I think I would be a Mandalorian.
Okay.
I mean, wearing the armor now is out and around is pretty cool, but being on set with others, possibly even like fighting alongside of Bo-Katan or Din Djarin, would just be a dream. I mean, I was in a local fan film called The Foretelling by Golden Guy Pictures.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. That's cool.
It's pretty good, not gonna lie.
Would you say it was called The Foretelling?
The Foretelling, yes.
Okay,
it's like a 15-minute fan film. It centers around the Jedi Cal Kestis.
Oh, cool.
Shortly after the events of Jedi Fallen Order. And I basically just play a Mandalorian who is part of the Socrata clan. And they're basically tasked with finding Jedi and clones after Order 66. But I don't want to say too much because I know there's something in the works for a part 2. So
nice, man. That's awesome.
That was a pretty fun experience. Yeah.
Heck yeah. So if you had to pick a master to train you, Jedi or Sith, who would be your master?
Jeez. I think I got to go with Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, that's a solid pick, man.
Yeah.
Solid pick.
Yeah.
And with that, if you had to pick the design of your lightsaber, what style lightsaber would you have, and what color would it be, or colors, depending on what style you get?
I mean, I would love to just fight for the dark saber, but
hey, man, that's an option. That's an option.
There you go. Final answer: dark saber.
Dark saber. Nice, yeah. nice. Yeah, I really actually, going back to Boba Fett, I like the fact that they made it different than a regular saber. So like it gets like heavier, like on the user if you try to like kind of like manhandle it. And I thought that was kind of interesting because we'd never seen that before. You know, these lightsabers are supposed to be like super light and elegant weapons, and then the dark saber is kind of like a different thing. So I always thought that was kind of interesting that they added that little bit of lore into it.
Yeah, I think that originally showed up in one of the episodes of Star Wars Rebels when Kanan was training Sabine to use it, and it was kind of like the same parallels with that. Yeah,
for sure. I think you're right. I saw Rebels twice. The first time I watched it, I was like so with it, and then the second time I watched it, you really catch all those little subtle details.
Yeah.
And they add a lot of original trilogy stuff in it, and I was like, oh man, like I can't believe I kind of slept on the show.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you had to pick your top 3 favorite characters, they don't have to be in any order, just 3 characters, who would they be?
Hondo is definitely one of them. I love Hondo.
Hello, my friends. Kenobi.
Bo-Katan is probably another one. I don't know. I think I got to go with Boba Fett. I think he was one of my original favorites when I ever watched it. So yeah. I think he's just going to stick with me for a while. Yeah, I always call Boba Fett like my first love of Star Wars because like when I was a little kid, like it was like Boba Fett everything because I just thought he was the coolest guy. I mean, he had like the awesome paint job with I will say though, I definitely think they made the right choice with his undergarments being black instead of tan. It's nice and clean looking. Like I was like, oh man, they should have done this from the beginning. Not that his tan looks bad by any means, because he still looks like awesome. But the black, I don't know. There's something about black and design that just it makes it look so sleek. Nice like, aesthetic. Yeah. So if you could bring one force power into real life, what force power would you want to bring? It's a tough one. I know, right? There's so many. I was going to say force choke. That's probably not a good one to bring into the real world. I think it would be cool, but like practicality wise, it falls under the same thing for me with force lightning. Cause I'm like, oh man, force lightning would be sick. But like practicality wise, like how would you use that in your day to day? You know, I think just like the simple, like kind of like lift an object, bring it over to me kind of thing. Heck yeah. Be lazy about it. Bring over the remote or something like that. I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting on the couch or something like that.
and reaching for like my Xbox controller, and I was like, come on, work,
It'll work eventually.
Yeah, one day when I'm older. Do you have a favorite musical score?
Ooh,
it's tough because John Williams is a beast, and the new guy, I think his name's Ludwig.
Yeah,
he's a beast too, man. They picked a good
definitely the new Boba Fett theme. That's
it gets me so hyped.
One of my new favorites, but I really like Across the Stars. That's one of my
solid.
That's another one of, and the Force theme.
Oh yeah,
those are both two really solid ones.
Yeah,
and you can't go wrong with like just any Cantina band.
Oh, for sure. I'm so glad that they bought my name's Max, so like they brought Max Rebo back, and I was like, yo, it's like representation.
Yeah, I'm so glad they didn't show him in the Sanctuary though in the last episode.
Yo, right? I'm like,
not again.
I turned to Vader. I'm like, is he safe? Is he all right? Where is Max Rebo? But do you have a favorite clone or like clone set of armor?
For favorite clone, I think I got to go with Jesse. I don't know why. He's just always just stuck with me for the longest time since he showed up. I think his first appearance was in the Umbara arc.
I think so.
Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something really cool about him, and it was just really sad to see him kind of comply with Order 66 in Season 7.
Dude, that made me so mad because I think Dave tweeted or something like that about Jesse was supposed to be one of the clones that didn't.
Really? I didn't know that.
Like in Rebels, he was supposed to be a part of like Rex's like posse.
Oh, that's right. I did hear that.
And I was just like, what? Why you got to do that to me, man? Like you got to like. There's already enough hurt in Star Wars. You're just gonna hurt me more.
Especially that last episode.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I love Dave Filoni. Like every time he directs something, he's always got to throw in Order 66. He's like, oh, we've seen it like 5 times. Here's another one.
And it's better and better each time.
I know, right? I know it's crazy. But so Jesse's your favorite clone. Do you have like a favorite set of armor from?
Ooh, I love the Phase 2 animated style.
Ooh, yeah.
It's, I don't know, there's very subtle details between the live action and animated, but I don't know, the animated has like those really cut cheek lines, and I just prefer it a lot better. Heck
yeah. And I'll throw since you're I know you're a big Mandalorian fan, do you have a favorite set of Mandalorian armor?
Ooh,
I know there's a lot to pick from, so I know it's hard.
I am a big fan of the construction-wise of the post-Empire version because it's just one solid plate, basically, as opposed to like the separated armor. So I think I'm gonna go with the post-Empire version. I know there's 2 different, or a few, I guess. There's like the heavy infantry. There's like 2 different Din versions, but I like this version the best. Oh yeah, it definitely looks good. It's hard because I'm trying to design like because like I don't know if I want to do the Mando mercs, but I definitely want to have like my own piece of like custom like Mandalorian armor. And I'm struggling so bad with what armor set that I want to go with. I'm like, they're all so cool. There's this one that I really like where it's like the visor and then it's separated, but the kind of like the T of the mouth is separated from the visor. So it's just the visor and then like it kind of goes to an arc. I'm not 100%. I think that's the Rook design from Alter Ego Armory, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think so. I'm like really liking that because I want to do. Have you seen the? It's like a bone style Boba Fett armor, and it has 2 long fangs. Oh yeah. I want to do something like that, and I think with the T being separated and just having like that with the point, I think that'll be really cool with that design. So I've been. Definitely. Once I get some time, I want to model that for sure. But yeah, I've been struggling with what armor set I want to go with. Yeah, that's the hardest part. Besides the paint job, what paint you want to go with? Yeah, true. Do you? This is kind of a 2-parter. Do you have a favorite Star Wars planet, and what Star Wars planet would you personally want to live on? Ooh, I wouldn't necessarily say I have a favorite planet. I'm kind of just good with whatever ones I'm shown on screen and whatever's going on there and then.
Right.
But in terms of a place to live, I feel like the best would have to be Alderaan before it's blown up, of course.
Oh, it's so beautiful, man. It's got like the lush green fields with like the snowy mountains.
Got mountains, got oceans, got a bit of everything.
Oh, yeah. It's like, well, Colorado doesn't have any oceans, but that's what it kind of reminds me of, is Colorado a little bit, because it's got the snowy peaks and all that stuff. Do you have a favorite creature?
I think a bantha. I don't know why.
Same, dude. Honestly, cool. Same.
After seeing them, there was one shot in, I think, season 2, episode 1 of the Mandalorian. I think right before the crate dragon's about to eat it or something. Mm-hmm. It gets like really zoomed in on its face, and the effects work on it are insane.
Oh, yeah.
So real.
Yeah, I want to eventually. I'm going to 3D print, maybe not a life-size bantha head, because that's ridiculous. Like, it'd take up my whole wall, but like a decently large bantha, and I want to do like make it like 3D print the face and then make it out of like yarn and stuff like that. I think it'd be like cool. It's one of my projects that I just haven't got to yet, but that's an idea. So that's cool that you said bantha.
Yeah.
Well, oh, actually, no, I'll do one more. I don't know if you're into video games, but do you have a favorite Star Wars video game?
I think in terms of story, I have to go with Fallen Order. It's definitely definitely one of the better ones. I'm so excited for the second one, because I'm pretty sure that was just recently announced that the sequels could be coming soon, or I guess it's in production or starting production. But I was also a pretty big fan of Squadrons when it first came out.
Oh yeah, that was good.
My friends and I, whenever we got the time, we would just jump on there, fly around the ship, shoot some stuff. And I have a VR headset, so that just makes the experience so much better.
Yeah, you put that thing on, you're like in the cockpit and everything. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, cool. Well, I think that's gonna conclude the Minoc minutes. To kind of wrap things up, I have two questions roughly. Is what are you most excited for to see in the future out of all the announced projects? Like, what are you most hyped for?
I think I gotta say Kenobi.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things where once what's his name? Hayden Christensen was announced that he was going to be reprising his role, and once we actually see them both on screen again, everyone's just going to lose their mind.
Oh, I know. Well, especially too, because they said that there is going to be like the biggest duel of the century or something like that. I'm like, what? They meet again? Like what?
Yeah.
There's that line in A New Hope where it's like, when I left you, I was but the learner, and everybody thought that was referring to, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
But apparently not, man. Apparently they're going to have
I can't wait for that.
One more tussle, man.
I was at the D23 Expo at the Disney Plus panel, and like when Ewan McGregor came out and stuff, my ears were bleeding from all the screaming when he said he was reprising his role.
Oh, I bet.
That was pretty cool though to see.
Everybody loves Obi-Wan, man. He's a fan favorite. And then the last question I'm going to ask you is if Lucasfilm called you up and was like, hey man, we need an idea for a movie, a TV show, a book, video game, whatever you want to, but it has to be your original idea, what would you pitch them?
Original idea? Oh, darn. I was going to say a Solo 2 because all the, what's it called? Concepts and stuff and rumors I was hearing about it having to do with Hutts, seeing Kira and Maul again. But for original,
well, you can do that, but what would you want to say? So I meant like original as in like you can't just be like I just want a movie. You'd have to be like
okay, I see. Then I would definitely say Solo 2. I just want to see more live action Hutts. It was cool to see them in the Boba Fett.
Heck yeah.
Just seeing Kira under Maul's wing, like I said, her being taught more about because I know she's not force sensitive, but some comics have been coming out where she
fights Vader and stuff, dude.
Yeah,
like what
exactly.
the heck?
So just be cool seeing more of the underworld, I guess, of Star Wars. So that's definitely something I would love to see.
Yeah. I was kind of, I think that's what they're kind of doing with these shows, but like George was going to direct like an underworld show, you know.
Oh yeah,
that we just we just never got. So I'm thinking they're kind of spreading some of those little tidbits about through like the new TV shows, you know. But yeah, I agree. The Underworld is something that has like not been expanded upon, and I think it would be really cool. And anything that gives me more Darth Maul, I'm here for it.
Of course,
you know, Darth Maul and Luke are my favorite characters. So if I see them in anything, I'm a happy Star Wars fan.
Definitely.
But thank you for coming on the podcast and taking the time to talk with me and tell your Star Wars story. Is there anything that you'd like to plug for the fans?
Sure. I guess you can just follow me on Instagram, CGS_props, and from there you can get access to my Etsy as well. And thank you for having me on. This is a lot of fun.
Hell, heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. I'm sure I'll have you on for more stuff to come.
I love that.
But if you guys have made it this far in this video, thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.